invocation. Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner, Precinct 1.
Present.
Devin Allen, Commissioner, Precinct 2. Gary Fickus, Commissioner, Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner, Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
That's here.
Thank you. Our invocation today will be delivered by Reverend Jason Valenti from the Saginaw United Methodist Church. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges. Thank you.
Judge, thank you so much for the opportunity to come and be. Will you join me in a word of prayer? Loving God, we gather in this space to do the things that you call us to do, to seek justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly in grace with you. And so guide those in this space that they may be surrounded by your steadfast love, knowing that they are always surrounded by the great saints that go before us, encircling us, encouraging us, providing and caring for us. And may the wisdom of your Holy Spirit be upon this court, this day and all days, so that your will may be done. It is in the name of the great love that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Judge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, Reverend, for coming out today. Mr. Manius, agenda announcements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have three announcements on the agenda today. The first one is under the Administrator's section, item 8A1. We have a revised court communication as it relates to that particular item. The second one deals with purchasing, and this is item 8H1. It's bid number 2019-082. Once again, there is a revised court communication as it relates to that. I believe there were 7 vendors rather than 6, as the communication originally stated. And then finally, members of the court, under transportation, items 8J2. This is the request for renewal of an auto wrecking and salvage yard license. We're going to ask that we hold that particular item at this time, and we'll be bringing that item back at a later date. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of April the 2nd.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion to second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Before we get into our proclamations and stuff, Texas Tech, so close. So close. But they had a great season. They got, nobody really gave them the credit that they were due, and nobody expected them to get as far as they did, and they did a fantastic job. And so we are to be very proud of them. At the same time, if you watched Sunday night, you saw the Lady Bears win their national championship. So the Baylor Bears women won the basketball championship. And then, so a lot to be excited about from that standpoint. But, Texas Tech again had a great game, and, they just might show up again there next year.
There you go.
We have two proclamations, or I have two proclamations that we're going to be addressing this morning. The first is on Child Abuse Prevention Month. And I know Julie Evans is here. Julie, come on down. But I also know that there's several other organizations here with her. The Parenting Center, I believe CASA of Tarrant County, the care team from Cooks, Women's Center. Why don't y'all just stand too as I read this, and then as we get to the point of presenting the plaque, y'all come on down and we'll get y'all in the picture too. Whereas children are our future and our greatest resource, and whereas every child deserves a nurturing family and safe environment to grow into a healthy, productive member of the community, And whereas child abuse is one of our nation's most serious public health problems and threatens the safety of our community, and whereas in Tarrant County, 5,842 children were confirmed as victims of child abuse or neglect in 2018, and whereas finding solutions to prevent child abuse is a community responsibility and depends on the involvement of all citizens, and whereas effective child abuse prevention, investigation, and treatment programs succeed because of partnerships among public and private agencies, schools, religious organizations, medical services, and the business community, now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2019 is Child Abuse Prevention Month in Tarrant County, and further, that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, urge all citizens to be aware of the signs of child abuse and to act to protect the children of Tarrant County. In witness whereof, we have herein to set our hands and cause the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 9th day of April 2019. I'll move its approval.
Second, and let us not forget our Child Protective Services.
Very good point. They're here today also, and I want them to also stand and be recognized for all of the work that they do in this area. Motion passes unanimously. Great work by all folks. Let me come down Yeah, why don't you go ahead and try to move that thing out. I don't know how y'all all come on down.
Let me move this.
Come on in here. Those of you who are like me, vertically challenged, need to be near the front.
I like it.
What we should have done was just had them go there, put them in front of the entire audience. No, we're not going to have all.
How are you, sir?
They on the floor here.
Jimmy, how are you, brother? Yes, I heard that. Yeah. Congratulations.
Ready? Okay, it's going to be like Christmas. Just stay here until they say go. Okay, everybody's got their pictures up. Okay. Thank y'all so much for everything that you do. We just can't thank you enough. Our children. So we really, really appreciate this court. I know appreciates everything y'all do in so many different areas. Welcome to make any comments, and he'll shuffle that thing back. Y'all come on out of there. Y'all come out now, or you're gonna be there for the next hour and a half.
We need to get a riser made, Judge.
Well, we can probably, you're right.
For the back row, have Mr. Phillips have his department make a little riser, and he hears me talking about it.
Here it comes.
He hears it, but, yeah.
He got perked up.
He's shaking his head over.
Well, I'll keep it brief, but from all of us, a sincere thank you. You know, representing Alliance for Children is only one of the hats. Man, what a joy to represent all of this response to child protection in Tarrant County. I have the opportunity to serve on the board of Children's Advocacy Centers of Texas, which is a state association serving all children's advocacy centers, and there's 71 in Texas. And while they're all doing good work, one of the things that stands out to me when we're together and they vocalize is the awe of collaboration that Tarrant County has for these children. And of course, this is a small glimpse into the team that works on behalf of Tarrant County children every day, but man, are they mighty, and they do great things. And I just want to thank you for setting that bar for this community. You are willing to have challenging conversations, and certainly talking about child abuse is one of them. And yet you set the bar, and you've really raised up a community in collaboration. And so as someone who lives and works here in this community, I just want you to know it is not lost on me that it starts at the top, and know that we see you make collaboration almost a requirement. We've got to work together in this, and ensuring that our children are at the forefront of our mind. As my mentor and our founding director, Nancy Hagan, told me, she said, if we have even one protective parent, children have the ability to heal from trauma. They have the ability to move on and really ensure that this is something that ends and that the trauma symptoms are put at bay. However, when that's not in place, it could easily take a team of 100 to put that child back together. And you make that team possible. And just know, from all of us on the front line serving that, we thank you for believing in us. We thank you for standing alongside us. And our commitment is to ensure that every kid that needs us, we will serve. And yet, man, what does it look like if they don't? So we're inspired by that vision, and thank you. So.
I say it all the time. I cannot emphasize it enough how great it is to see the collaboration that works in Tarrant County, not only within Alliance for Children in the collaboration between the cities, the county, Cooks, through all of that, but just with all the agencies that you saw here this morning, and how much they work together to try to protect our children as we go forward. So I really want to thank everyone for that. Next is the National Crime Victims Week, and I believe Lori Clarita is here. Come on forward, Lori. I'll read this into the record. Whereas in 1982, the President's Task Force on Victims of Crime envisioned a national commitment to a more equitable and supportive response to victims and its lasting impact. Whereas this commemorative week celebrates the energy, perseverance, and commitment that launched the victims' rights movement, inspired its progress, and continues to advance the cause of justice for crime victims. And whereas with the support of their communities and the victim service providers, surveyors will be empowered to face their grief, survivors will be empowered to face their grief, loss, fear, anger, and hope without judgment, and will feel understood, heard, and respected. And whereas serving victims and rebuilding their trust restores hope as well as supports thriving communities. And whereas engaging a broader array of healthcare providers, community leaders, faith organizations, educators, and businesses can provide new links between victims and services that improve their safety, healing, and access to justice. And whereas honoring the rights of victims, including the rights to be heard and treated with fairness, dignity, and respect, and working to meet their needs, rebuilds trust in the criminal justice and social services systems. And whereas National Crime Victims' Rights Week is a recommitment to ensuring that all victims of crime, especially those who are challenging to reach or serve, are offered culturally and linguistically accessible and appropriate services in the aftermath of crime. And whereas Tarrant County is dedicated to strengthening victims and survivors in the aftermath of crime, building resilience in our communities and victim responders, and working for a better future for all victims and survivors, now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim the week of April 7th through 13th, 2019 as Crime Victims' Rights Week throughout Tarrant County, and reaffirm our commitment to creating a victim service and criminal justice response that assists all victims of crime throughout the year. In witness whereof, we have herein to set our hands and cause the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 9th day of April 2019. I'll move its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Judge Whitley and Commissioners. You know, every year I get to follow Julie up here, and I really do appreciate following her because I don't have to say much because she's already said everything for us. Today I'm up here representing the Tarrant County Coalition of Crime Victim Services, and I did bring some other members of the group with me. If y'all would please stand. Again, most of the people who just stood. So thank you. We're an organization that has been around since 1989, and we represent various factions of crime victim services in Tarrant County. And every year we put on an event to recognize victims and advocates and all of those of us who work in the field with the crime victims. This year's event will be Thursday at 3 o'clock at the Women's Center. We also have a victim advocate who has been a crime victim who will be our keynote speaker this year. Kelly Willis from Juvenile Services is handing each of you an invitation, but I would like to invite everyone here in the audience to attend with us again 3 p.m. Thursday at the Women's Center, and this will be our 16th annual event in tribute to victims. So thank you.
Thank you. Now, Commissioner Fickus, I know you have the next three, but you also, I think, want to make a comment with regards to March of Dimes, and so I'll let you decide where you want to
Well, I'm gonna
place that.
start with March of Dimes.
I thought you might.
Yeah. This Saturday, we're gonna have our March for the Babies, and it's going to be at Panther Pavilion. And the county, the whole county, Tarrant County, is coming together to march, along with hopefully thousands of other people, not just here, but across America. This is going on this weekend. So what we have done, we put together kind of a little package for everybody where for $25, that donation will go to the babies, and you'll get a t-shirt. But who wants just a stinky old t-shirt? You don't. You want an umbrella. Yep. Your very own Tarrant County umbrella. It says Tarrant County on it and has our beautiful courthouse on it. So for $50, you get a t-shirt and an umbrella and a donut.
Only one.
Wilder's furnishing the donuts, and you can have as many as you want.
Yep, no, he's not furnishing them. I'm furnishing them.
Is he paying for it?
He's passing them out.
He's not paying for it?
He's not
I
paying.
thought last week he was paying for it.
We're going to work on that. I think he should.
I agree.
I think he should. Anyway, plus I need his $50 for his umbrella.
I gave you the 50.
Okay, you giving me the money? That's up to them. Okay, we really want everybody to participate. If you will, we're going to have t-shirts. We're going to be here Friday, passing them out with the umbrellas. Talk to Devin in the back or Rebecca here, and they can take care of all your needs for this walk. It's going to be a lot of fun. It might even rain. So for $50, you're protected. So, okay, thanks. Now.
Well, and I noticed that I have the next proclamation. I just thought it was yours. I'm going to, for ratification only, I will move the proclamation for the Texas State Board of Examiners of Marriage and Family Therapists Day.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Now, Commissioner Fickus.
Okay, this is for ratification also, is the proclamation for National County Government Month. Now, I can read that if you'd like, or would you like to read it? Or would Commissioner Brooks like to read it? Because the two of you being former National Association of County Presidents, are y'all going to read it together?
I'll read it unless Commissioner Brooks is just itching to.
I don't itch.
Whereas the nation's 3,069 counties, which serves more than 300 million Americans, provides essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities, and whereas counties provide health services, administer justice, keep communities safe, foster economic opportunities, and much more, and whereas Tarrant County and all counties take pride in their responsibility to protect and enhance the health, welfare, and safety of its residents in efficient and cost-effective ways, and whereas through the National Association of Counties President Greg Cox Connecting the Unconnected initiative, NACO is demonstrating how counties deliver people-centered services to their residents nationwide, and whereas each year since 1991, the National Association of Counties has encouraged counties across the country to elevate awareness of county responsibilities, programs, and services, and whereas Tarrant County is a rapidly growing urban county whose county officials, employees, schools, businesses, and residents are involved with the civic responsibilities that build quality communities and make Tarrant County a great place to live and work. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim April 2019 as National County Government Month and encourage all county officials, employees, schools, and residents to participate in the county government celebration activities. In witness whereof we've hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 9th day of April 2019.
I move approval.
I second.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. People don't understand what county government's about. And I would just ask each of you who are county employees especially to take every opportunity you can to explain what you do and who we are. Because most people look at the services that we provide as services that are state provided or Fed provided, and don't realize that county government is an integral part to making this community, to making this nation run. We maintain over 45% of all the roads and bridges in this country. When you're in an urban area, you don't realize that quite as much as when you get out into the rural areas. The elections, the births, the deaths, the records, the history. That's what counties do, and most people don't recognize that. So tell our story. Let people know how critical county government is. And I would especially encourage you to do that this week as the legislature discusses the HB2 and SB2, which will greatly limit what cities and counties can do going into the future. So please take every opportunity you can to talk about what counties do. Call your representative and your senator, each one of you have one, and tell them to not limit control, to let local voters decide what locally will be done. Commissioner Fickus, I believe you have the next.
I do. This is for ratifications, congratulatory resolution for Louise K. Appleman, who is the president of the Tarrant County College District Board of Trustees. She is retiring, 31 years of service, and this will be presented Thursday at their board meeting, or after their board meeting. So I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Johnson.
I have a resolution of commendation for Darlene Matt. She retired from our county extension agent's office after 41 years of service. I don't think she's here today. It's for ratification only, but I just wanted the court to know, and everybody congratulate her if you see her, for 41 years of service to county extension agent. She's taught a lot of people how to eat properly.
Yeah.
Done an outstanding job. I will move for its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Joan, would you come up here and talk a little bit about something we did last week?
Sure.
Last week, the court did pass, I believe, at your request, an award for ag. Would you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, our department is requested permission to have a J.D. Johnson Award to be presented annually for community and public service for young people, people who are graduating from high school. So there will be high school seniors. There will be an application process for 4-Hers and FFA students, and to honor our young people who devote significant hours of service as a young person to their community and to their neighborhoods, and also and look forward to continuing on to continue in that service. So Commissioner Johnson started out young, working in 4-H as a youth, and provided community service, and he's continued to provide community service at the county level, at the state level, and at the community level, at the city level. And he's been a man of service and a distinguished leader in our community for many years, and we would like to honor him on an annual basis with that award given to a youth in his name.
We discussed it 2 weeks ago. We passed it last week. I've been on this court for 22 years. I have never seen anyone advocate for our youth the way you have, and have continued to do it. I know you did it long before I came on this court, and I know that you will do it forever. And I couldn't, and the rest of this court could not have been happier than for us to have an opportunity to approve this award in your honor as we go forward. So again, congratulations very much for everything.
And I'm humbled. Thank you very much.
We may have
Thank you, Joe.
We may have even, I don't know that we surprised you, but maybe we surprised you. You might have heard a little rumor about it.
A little bit.
Well, it's well
I've been
deserved.
involved with 4-H since the early 50s. So,
That's
few
when
years.
you were one.
Pardon me?
That's when you were one.
That's true.
Congratulations, J.D.
Thank you, Roy.
Court members, you have before you the consent agenda with the changes as indicated by Mr. Manius earlier.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Again, thank all of y'all. We appreciate y'all coming out here today. Thank you. Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. You know, the one thing that you failed to mention that Commissioner Johnson has also done is that at least for the last 31 years, I know for sure has encouraged each and every member of this court to contribute a little bit, maybe a little bit more every year to the Junior Livestock Show also. I'm
not sure encouraged was the right word to use.
Well, we're trying to be kind today. Members of the court, we have one additional item this morning. We're requesting that the court approve a request from the L. Clifford Davis Legal Association to amend the Tarrant County fee schedule for qualified candidates during Day 2 of the Expunction Non-Disclosure Clinic, which will be held May 18th, 2019.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Tidwell?
We have one item we're asking the court to consider, and that is to receive and file the Tarrant County financial statements for the period of 5 months ended February 2019.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Ms. Glenn?
Move to receive and file a personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the personnel agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Good morning and thank you.
Good morning, Tina.
We have just one additional item, that's item 2. We're asking the court to approve the new hire-in rate for SAP positions and information technology. If approved, we're looking at 16 positions which are identified in your court communique that we will then post and recruit at minimum plus 20% as opposed to minimum plus 10%. This is to address issues that we've had with recruitment, and so our hope is that with this change, we can improve the quality of our applicants as well as increase our applicant pool.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
I don't see Vinny, but I see Ann.
Judge, may I bring up something real quick? Because I've received 2 text messages from my office since you mentioned people don't always understand what county government is. And in our newsletter that went out today, we have a whole page about county government and what it is and links to all the different phases of it. So if you get our newsletter and you're not sure, you can look at it and see. So
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Ann,
morning.
Morning.
We have one item for your consideration today, and that is a memorandum of understanding with the Department of State Health Services so that we can get the data about Tarrant County and analyze it. They've changed their procedures, and so we had to get an MOU started.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Jack? Whoop.
Morning.
Morning.
And he's not even humility. Did y'all lose something that you didn't want to come up here and?
Oh, he had Virginia, I had Texas.
We won our spring game.
We have 4 items for your consideration this morning. The first item is an award recommendation for bid number 2019-082, restroom stainless steel partition replacements at the Tim Curry Criminal Justice Center to award to Chatham Worth in the amount of $75,375. If approved, we're also seeking contract approval and acceptance of the payment bond.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
The second item is also an award recommendation for RFP number 2019-119. This is a new annual contract for covert surveillance camera systems for the Sheriff's Office. The recommendation is to award to Sandoval Custom Creations per contract terms.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
The third item is regarding bid number 2018-043. This is our annual contract for the purchase of retirement watches. On February 26, 2019, through court order number 129684, the renewal was approved. On March 21, 2019, we received letters from both the primary and secondary vendors that the Pulsar brand was no longer sold in the U.S. starting February 1st. So the primary vendor was unable to provide an alternate meeting our specifications. The secondary bidder alternate watch meets the approval of the HR department, and we are recommending cancellation of award to Far From Boring Promotions and award to the next low bidder, J. Brandt Recognition.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our fourth and last item is regarding RFP number 2019-106. employee drug and alcohol testing. We're requesting rejection of all proposals and request permission to rebid with revised specifications.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any appointments today?
Don't we have some appointments, tax increment financing?
Do you? I don't.
Well, none of these need to be redone. I guess they're all in place. Correct?
I think so.
Okay.
What's the question?
There is
Not
none.
sure. There are none, no appointments as I hear today.
Okay.
Court members, you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum. Second.
We have motion second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Manius, briefing items.
Members of the court, we have one item, which is the legislative update. Mr. Schaffner has provided a memorandum to you for your review. Just the updates, as you see, the HB1, the General Appropriations Bill, it should be heard on the Senate floor today, and then it'll be sent to conference. Benton Court's bill, SB2, was placed on the Senate intent calendar and is eligible to be called to the floor this week. HB 2070, which is a bill that would remove the Tarrant County Sheriff's Commissary Fund from being subject to the Purchasing Act, Commissioners Court budgetary authority, and normal county transparency processes, was passed out of House County Affairs, and it's in calendar at this time. And then finally, HB 3 from Huberty, which is the education bill. It actually passed out of the House 148 to 1. And so those are the updates on those. You also received information on other prior legislative issues, and I'll attempt to answer any questions that you may have.
Whose representative voted against that?
What can I say?
Wasn't mine, was it
No,
yours,
it was
Roy?
mine. It was mine. And I would just state that Empire Texans are real happy with him. Not so much with me. I mentioned this earlier, HB2 and SB2. HB2 is supposed to be heard on the floor on Thursday.
The House or the Senate?
In the House. SB2 can be called up at any point in time, and the rumor has it they're waiting for a Democrat to be absent so that they can get their 60%, because they can't as long as all the Democrats show up, because there's a couple of Republicans also voting against. That's the bill that basically will put revenue caps on cities and counties. Now, it used to be it was going to be cities, counties, and schools, but when they passed their budget, they realized that they needed a 6% increase in appraised value in the schools, so they couldn't very easily cap them at 2.5 if their budget depended upon 6. So HB2 would basically limit counties' revenue cap growth to about 2.5%. We're not sure. They've talked about, right now they're talking about also putting in their certificates of obligation, which we don't have any, but there's a lot of counties and a lot of cities that use that. There's been a lot of counties where the Justice Department of the state will basically say, we're about to disqualify your jail because it doesn't meet standards. You got to have a new jail. They'll go out to the voters and say, we want to build a new jail. The voters will say no. It happened twice in Bell County. Justice Department says, we're fixing to close you down. So they used COs to build a new jail. This will greatly limit anything that we do discretionary. At 2.5%, especially for those non-growth counties, that basically means that if you have construction costs that go up 2.5%, or healthcare costs that go up 2.5%, more than 2.5%, then there'll be nothing for any kind of pay rate adjustments, period. With without a vote of that. It's almost we're going to go to instead of a representative government, we're going to go to a government of referendum, by referendum. As I said earlier, and I'll say it again, each one of you have one state representative and each one of you have one state senator. I hope that you will take this opportunity to call yours or to send an email saying, we do not support HB2 or SB2. If people don't like what we do, they have a chance every 4 years to elect someone else, and in schools and in cities, it's more frequent than that. And I just hope that you will not just say, well, I'll let somebody else do it. Because if you do that, then we're very likely to come under this, because there's a lot of people out there who are pushing this pretty strongly. For you elected officials, there is you can go to TAC or you can go to the Conference of Urban Counties. You can click on that and you can actually sign your name to a letter that is going to our state reps, to the state legislature, basically saying that we oppose this bill. This is the week to do it. Next week may be too late. So please consider calling, making those calls, sending those emails at this point in time. We are also, you heard that the commissary bill is in calendars. We're also opposing that. We feel a little bit better about that because remember that one person who voted against the budget? That's the one that's carrying the commissary bill. His name is not real well thought on by many down there at this point in time. So I think Russell's doing a great job. If you have questions about legislation, I would encourage you to communicate or to contact him, especially from an association standpoint. But he's doing a great job as far as staying on top of those things and going. I want to say one other thing because I think this kind of goes hand in hand with what we were talking about earlier. Most of us received our little blue love notes last week from the appraisal district. And I do believe that there are a lot of things that we need to do, corrective measures with regards to the appraisals and the appraisal system. But that really, as hard as it is to sometimes grasp, that is separate and apart from revenue caps on local governments. You know, I had many people who came and said their appraisals went up 50, 60%. A 2.5% revenue cap is not going to have any impact on that because it's the appraised value. Tarrant County, the last 3 years, has reduced their tax rate by a penny. And people say, well, you know, what's a penny? A penny is 4%. We've been told that on average by the appraisal district that they think that Tarrant County's average increase is going to be somewhere between 7 and 10%. On the low end, if it's 7 and we've reduced the rate by a penny and that's 4%, that means that the increase was around 3%. If it comes in a little bit higher than that at around a 10%, then one of two things may happen. We might be able to lower that rate by more than just a penny, or it may end up being that we would end up at around a 6%. And again, what we'll look at is we'll look at everybody as we go through the budgets and go through that process. But what I think needs to happen in the appraisal system is we need to find something that addresses those huge outliers. Homesteads are protected from a standpoint that they can only go up 10% per year. But that same protection does not go up on other single-family residents or on multifamily residences. And commercial have different sets of things that go on with them. They've got depreciation, but they also don't have the 10% cap. There's a lot of things that we can look at in the appraisal system. And a lot of things I think we should look at. But that, again, does not have, it shouldn't be linked with the revenue caps, although I know that many will do that, will link it with that, and try to basically say that that's the solution, is the 2.5% cap. 2.5% cap also, for people who are looking for a reduction, that cap does nothing to reduce your tax rate. It only potentially limits the amount that it may go up in the future from that standpoint. I don't know if any of y'all have any questions or comments, but again, this week is a very critical week in the legislature from that standpoint. Anything else, Mr. Mays?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Then I'll recess our open meeting and proceed to close to discuss items exempt under section 551.071.
What's that?
072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code. Having returned from our closed session, no business to conduct at this time. We are adjourned, and Commissioner Johnson, Director of